Also a form of sensory deprivation which will be discussed later. Days and weeks lose their meaning. 6. Sexually disturbing tailored pornography. The summary of the Senate torture report disclosed the disgusting revelations that in the secret torture derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa is true.
I also experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and videos in my closed eyes. Specific foods.
I just can't take this whole thing into account so much. I make it so dramatic. It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting, disgusting, disgusting things.
Also a form of sensory deprivation which will be discussed later. Days and weeks lose their meaning. 6. Sexually disturbing tailored pornography. The summary of the Senate torture report disclosed the disgusting revelations that in the secret torture derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa is true.
Pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes. It also includes videos of violence.
Sound like an angry ass old person, then a couple of days later a female said the same thing, don't get shot in the face, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female?
Voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as destructive and violent.
Involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that two officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is so bizarre. Remember, it's so evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks. If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind those computer screens within the walls of Langley, within the Pentagon, and throughout the broader intelligence community?
6-year-old, he was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually gives, and like you said, only one actually served any jail time for this. One employee had sexual contact. This is one employee of the CIA had sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. The CIA did not answer detailed questions, saying only that the agency takes all
not knowing what to do other than to just cradle the totally flaccid arm in my other hand while screaming hysterically, and then it quickly returned to normal but left me very traumatized. Something they have been doing for about the past 4 months or so has been the symptoms of a yeast infection, which they turn off or on, as well as up or down in severity. Right after nearly every shower, and sometimes during the shower, they do severe symptoms of a yeast infection, sometimes making me scratch my genitals so much that it leaves my genitals painfully raw, making it hard to walk or sit or go to the bathroom. I would now like to talk about the people around me being manipulated by these electronic weapons as well. There does not appear to be a need for microchips or nanotechnologies to manipulate the minds and bodies of anyone around me, anywhere in the world, which I have repeatedly witnessed. For example, they make people around me burp, hiccup, and sneeze repeatedly, especially the sneezing, because the V2K says it's like an orgasm, so they make people around me sneeze excessively to threaten more sexual assaults. I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions, despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. This was used to threaten extreme torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. One day, I also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow.
Now, throughout the day, I was just exhausted. And so I was unable to make as many testimonials, and also what I call reality check. Reality check is to put things back in reality. I am around people, and my ecosystem consists of people who are contracted to make you accept things that are super falsified. Now, 2 seconds ago, they were just playing with my memories. You know, this technology as a target video, you know that memories are for them to manipulate however they want. Memory manipulation, false memories is something they've been doing for a long time in these entities, in this intelligence community. That's what you can even hear stories about in the 50s, 60s. You know, this doctor saying that false memories already implanted. You know, and what they're doing is making me think of, you know, Con Air, the Nicolas Cage movie. I remember watching it the first time when I was like preteen, like 10 years old or something, 10, 11, or even maybe younger. And basically in the 90s, late 90s, and classic, you know, obviously action, typical action movie, typical boy with, you know, love that kind of movie. And there's a portion where there was this con and this thing, and like they giving me this stimulation that wasn't there at the time, but now they're creating this sensation in their memory, and to be like, oh, we proved it, look at what you experienced, which is what they make me experience in my memories today. So my false memories is what they do, but they're in a program that is just trying to erase reality and create a new reality. And the new reality is very disturbing and pedophilia-centric. Now, if you see around me, I have in this, you see the different patterns that these people have been utilizing pedophilia type of torture. It's almost like, it's of course known that they do pedophilia type of torture. There's no way to escape that. Matter of fact, it's such a common thing that almost all target individuals are forced to experience these nasty things. And so, you know that these things is what they do. It doesn't take much. I didn't do deep research. As soon as I found out about this thing called target individual, you quickly hear about these tormenting tactics, which are pedophilia-centric. Quickly. It doesn't take much. I mean, I think within the first testimonial, immediately heard testimonials of pedophilia type of torture. Immediately. It didn't take too much. I didn't, it was just like, oh wow. So it is a thing they do. It's something they obviously do. You just, of course, I knew something was obviously nonsensical, but I didn't know that they literally have torments that are pedophilia-centric. It is a tactic. It is a protocol. And next to me, there's people who do this noise campaign, and they're hired. One of my neighbors, she came and she was like banging the thing and insulting me in Spanish and tried to make me subscribe to these things. She tried to dumb me into accepting these things. She's contracted by the government to do these things. Making all the noise, saying all this loud and be as loud as she can to show how, oh, she just saw what's happening to your brain. It's you. Bah, 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 make it. And they go into there's a place here you throw the trash and you can make a noise there. So she throws and she slams there. Bah, 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 and she starts speaking loud, acting like she caught me in these thoughts, and makes. It's like such a gimmick. It's like acting accordingly. And sometimes they do this thing where you hear the bikes, it's all obviously a way to intimidate you into accepting this nastiness. But the reality now, they know that I'm seeing them for what they are. What I want to do is see them, take a picture of them, and like, hey, this is what they do. They do this spirit fear type of torture. They force you to experience these things in all different ways. I mean, I took screenshot after screenshot of all the different things they've done to me. Because that's what they do. It's nonstop. It's disgusting. And I know why I'm in this program. And I know who put me in this program. But once you're in this program, this pedophilia torment is as systematic as the radiation that you experience. As systematic as what you're getting physically. You get these scripted things that it's so everything's it's like a protocol. Everything. They have repetitions of the things they say over and over and over. They have these manipulations they do over and over and over. They have these disturbing, tormenting things they do over and over and over. They have these noise campaign things they do over and over and over. You have these people in your ecosystem that do these things to try to make you accept these things and do this noise campaign. It's part of this. Everything I said, everything I'm saying, has been said by others. There is nothing new. Everything there's nothing. Even the way these people are trying to present themselves is something somebody else has said. Your neighbors involved doing this noise campaign, doing this, saying this. The people involved. Some people say, they even sound like these people sound like children. Like they're like a bunch of middle schoolers. Like the way they like just act childlike. To be agitating. It's just same for me. Everything. So, for me, I've understood that. Now, what they're trying to also counter is, what you're seeing here is some blurred pictures. Those two people used to be my coworkers, old coworkers. And when I was working at the employee who put me in this program, right, a few years back, these people, obviously, once you are in this program, you have people, your whole ecosystem is filled with people who are trying to gaslight you and manipulate you and make life hard for you and involved in things that at that time I didn't know exactly what was happening. But, I was already talking to the HR, but they were involved. I was as a target individual, and the coworkers were gaslighting me and doing things to just kind of disturb me. I knew something was off, but I didn't know what it was. I ended up quitting at that job because I was like, what is going on? I don't know. I've been trying to talk to people. I try to make people feel comfortable around me, and I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. I talked to the HR people. I talked to, not knowing that my employer put me in this program, and now these people, my coworkers, were involved in these manipulations. And not in manipulation, but making me feel uncomfortable in my working environment. And now these people here, because my employer, who put me in this program, which these people used to work for the same employer and involved themselves in my targeting, which I didn't know was I was a target individual. My employer is my then employer, who is responsible for me being in this program, is extremely conservative employer, right? And so conservative that they also donated a lot of money to people and things that now in this environment is not perhaps an environment they want to be identifying with. For example, they can say Roy Moore, right? Roy Moore is he was running for a governor of Alabama, I believe. I think a senator or governor of Alabama. But came out with a bunch of allegations that when he was an assistant DA, which I think now he's a judge or was a judge, when he was an assistant DA in his 30s, he was picking up kids as young as 14 years old, right? After the allegation, my employer still donated a lot of money to him, right? A lot for a campaign. And so, you have these people who are trying to make me be this kind of individual and creating so much fraudulency of memories and try to gaslight me into accepting this. And so I know that that's unfortunate for them because it's not fair because these people wanted to present themselves as this group of like, oh, you're a pedophile, when in reality they work for pedophiles. But this is another layer which you see in this video I'm going to play after that shows that there's a lot of pedophiles in these entities that contract these low lives. On top of the fact that can't say this Roy Moore name, on top of not being able to say his name, agencies, this intelligence and community, these intelligence agencies are filled with pedophiles. I mean, it is a pattern of pedophilia. I mean, it's just known, like, it's just overwhelming an issue over there. Right? And you're going to hear that. And these people who are contracted by them, obviously, when I look at the people making the noise campaign, I'm not going to look at them as like, oh, these people are running this show. This is their, you know, like, I know they're just contracted. I see them for the position they're in, not for what they try to present themselves as, right? They try to be like, they send children to try to be like agitating and say, no, it's our money, you know, like, you know, you understand? Try to agitate you too. But reality is that they work for these entities filled with pedophiles, and these tactics of manipulating people is systematic. It's things they've done many times. So others, and you're gonna hear testimonials. And so what they're trying to do, and the reason why I have picture of this blurred picture of these two people, this were old employers where I used to be, old employees just like me, my coworkers, where I used to be working at this place where they put me in this program. And they were also my coworkers in the same department, and so they partaked in my targeting. I didn't know it was targeting. I thought it was just gaslighting me, tried to get me out of the position, job, but they were just gaslighting me. The older man that you see, who's very creepy, came toward the end of my time at the place I used to work, and this one, the other one, was she was there before me, and you know, they both obviously, when you start working there, you have to take part of my gaslighting one way or another. And they try to make it seem like, no, what they did is like, they saw and they thought that you're like, you know, this pedophilia things, they saw it and they saw this, you know, that was you, and they, like, you know, these people, first of all, as an employer, I was not working for an agency, a intelligence agency. I was working for a place that sell products. Okay, so these people saying no, they knew because you see, like, these people, we are like doing marketing for this company that sells different type of products. We're not in the agencies, so they make it sound like these people like we're like special agents or some kind. No, they're doing what this program does, is make life hard for somebody to be functioning and feel uncomfortable in an environment, and they did that. And there's one time, right, I remember, because they would do things to just like make sure that I know something was going on, but I didn't know what it was, right? They would openly do that because we were all sitting in a cubicle, but I could see them and they could see me. And I see one of these older men. You see that very weird guy. I mean, like, he's just like something was not right. I can see him walk toward this younger person, who's a little bit younger than me, and say, you know, I'm ready, but I don't think I can do this pedophilia thing. Oh, I don't know about the pedophilia thing. Something like that. He says something like that. Now, I don't know what exactly we're talking about, but I heard the word. I don't know if I can do this pedophilia thing. Whatever that is, I don't get it. I don't know. But looking back now with what I'm experiencing today, I'm experiencing this disgusting pedophilia type of torture. Now, was he saying, I'm ready for this, but I don't know if I can deal with doing the pedophilia type of torture? I don't know. That's probably that, or maybe it's not. I have no idea, right? I don't care, but at the same time, I know this guy was a trash who was doing things to make me feel uncomfortable. I would sit next to him, I try to be funny and try to make things comfortable, like try to change whatever was happening. And I would see him just like doing this gunshot thing to me. He's like, bah. Yeah, like sitting next to me, like this is a grandfather. He would do like, I'm like, what's going on with this person? And now they're like, oh no, what he did is like he saw you what you did as a kid. Look at this creepy old man. You tell me this creepy old man saw me as a child over there? He's like, no, he saw what you did as a kid. It's like, that is so disgusting. So he tell me he also saw me wash myself and all that as a kid. It's like, whatever that is, whatever he said that, is it because he know this peripheral type of things that was going to be applied, which most likely is true. They knew they're going to do the peripheral type of torture, so obviously they're trying to, or it was this saying, oh, you see, because what he did as a kid, yeah, okay. Because if these people who are watching me saw my real imperfections, not these peripheral things that they try to come up with now, they try to create now. He will see me thinking about women. He will see me interacting with women. He will see the real me. And so that's what he would see. He will see reality. As I'm saying that, right, because I'm bringing up the fact that if these people were watching me, the way these people are watching me, while I was me, while I was having my own brain, interacting with women, thinking about women, he obviously see my imperfection. To stop that, they tell me how I'm gonna be fired, because now once you're a target individual, once you are put in this program, whoever is gonna employ you is gonna be involved in your targeting. And it's like, oh, they're gonna fire me. I was like, the people who hire me to fire me is gonna fire me, okay, whatever. And these people, I did not try to cover up these obvious people that you see blurred. Try to say, no, they're investigating. It's like, these people are not there to investigate anything. They were there to torment me. They're working and tormenting me and making me feel uncomfortable. And trust me, you see this guy, this is not the kind of guy who's going to do this kind of investigation. But he says something like that nasty. And they try to make you see that's proof. Like, this guy was nasty trash. And I'm sure he knew that the perfect type of torture was going to be implemented onto me. I remember being on a plane with this guy. It was so weird. It's so bizarre. It's so just odd. I was sitting next to him, next to my then manager, and I was in between them. And this guy just asked me this random question, because I was telling, when I was in middle school, I went to this Catholic church and whatever. And Catholic church here. I went to a Catholic school, private school there. And he looked at me. He's like, "Were you a good little Catholic boy?" I was like, "What?" And I remember that was such a weird thing to say. Were you? And he stopped and just used a quiet voice. "Were you a good Catholic boy?" And I turn around and I look at my manager's like, what is wrong with this guy? That sounded super creepy. Sounded very, very creepy. And as I'm saying that, somebody's like, a black girl. Because they want me to be like, oh, that was you when you were a kid in Catholic private middle school. And they're like, no, remember what you did as a kid? It's like, this is so creepy. Yes, I know what I did as a child. I was a child. I did something stupid as a kid is capable of doing. I know you guys do the pedophilia type of torture. I know you guys actually torture children. You're going to hear what they do to this little girl. And this trash, which I call them pedophiles, because what they do is try to rewire the brain into these disturbing pedophilia ways. It's trying to make me believe that that it's me when I was a child. And they're like, oh, black girl. Because when they say black girl, it's true. That's why they use these childlike people. They truly can use children of all ages to be involved in this. It doesn't take much. So, of course, I know it's what they do. And so, when they try to make me believe that these people you see there, these creeps, that were making my life hard at working at the company I used to work, were investigating, and they're like, oh, they found that. It's like, yo, black girl. Okay. Yeah, okay. They most likely knew that the pedophilia type of torture was going to be applied to me. Because these people, as you're going to hear, are renowned for doing this pedophilia type of torture. And it doesn't take much, as you're going to hear again, around me, that almost all target individuals do the pedophilia type of, get this pedophilia type of tormenting. That you hear this testimonies of children and women being tortured by them. You hear this trans woman talking about how she's getting the pedophilia type of tormenting. You see a systematic tactic to force people to experience pedophilia ways of thinking. And these people, knew that. Now, were they like, oh, yeah, that saw him because remember, you see how when he was a kid, so he'll be real. I was like, delusional. They saw who I was, the real me. And they're not trying to gaslight me into accepting this. And he's sending these children to go into the script to try to counter reality. And they hate that because what's going to happen? You're going to hear me speak. Then you're going to hear the testimonial. And you're going to be like, oh, it's a black girls. Or is that what the pedophilia things they do? That almost all target individuals are experiencing. Is that him when he's a kid you see in the green over there? Or is it the pedophilia things they do? And why is there so many pedophiles in these agencies that are in charge of doing this pedophilia type of torture? Is it weird? Oh, by the way, I mean, listen to a lot of females. Listen to that. Awkward, huh? And you tell me these people who are these people with this old man, creepy looking man, and the other person over there were investigating and they found this, no. Obviously, I know they knew they were going to put me in this program that does this pedophilia type of torture. That's going to force me to get this pedophilia type of tormenting. Because I'm sure it doesn't take too much to figure it out. And they know the system. They're going to do the pedophilia things. They're going to rewire my brain. And this is going to be doing that. And they do the slanderous things too. By the way, before that, you get slandered. Testimonials of that. People around you say that you're something that you're not. Even women with children get the same treatment. Can you imagine? You're a mother, you've been living in the neighborhood for a long time, you have children and everything, and it's like, oh, this woman is a pedophile. You understand? So these people, to me, whatever they were talking about, I don't care. I know they were perps now. I know the terminology. They were perps. They're coworkers that once you are a target individual, your coworkers become perps, involve themselves in these things. And this creepy man who comes to this woman, to this young woman, who's like, hey, I don't know about the pedophilia thing. He said that. That's all I heard. I remember saying, I don't know about the pedophilia thing. Whatever that means, I don't care. But in their mind, they're like, oh, you see, they knew it. They knew it. It's like, they knew what? They knew that they're going to do the pedophilia type of torture. And then they tried to make me think of another moment, which is even more obvious. They're full of BS. Now, let me tell you, I used to work for a place that used to sell industrial products. That's what we did. This is not any agencies. Corporate world. I'm working. My coworkers come. They used to do this thing where it was so funny, where they go to every cubicles and have interaction with everybody, and they brought their kids. As I'm saying that, they're stimulating me. They come to me and start talking to me with their kids, their little girls, whatever. I'm having this, obligation of speaking to them, try to be friendly. Oh, hey, talking to the little girl. Hey, how's your day? Oh, you guys try to be funny. We're trying to be, very personable and whatnot, right? And then they walk away. I'm like, okay, good, I'm done. Next thing I know, I see this woman, my coworker, coming and start like kind of walking, bam, bam, bam. And she stops and just looks at me, and she just like walking back and I'm like, what is going on here? And now they're like, oh, what she was doing is like she was trying to compare the way you were looking at her and the way you're looking at the kid. And so, I hope if it's true that it's delusional. But they try to make you subscribe, like, yeah, that's that. And then we matched it. It's like, oh my gosh. Trash and I'm not going to say the word. If that's true, this delusion, this so whoop. Because the reality is the person who put me in this program because of the race reason. And so these people were trying to, oh no, they match the way you look at this woman and the way you look at the little girl. That was like, and then in my mind now, they try to do the same thing. They give me simulations. Try to counter reality so much. And to them it's like, oh, I should subscribe to it. No. whatever this trash was doing, I know that this fantasy does not make sense. But most likely what's happening, most likely what they were doing, because when the family comes, I noticed this thing, and I think I know that now more than ever. When the family came and I was talking to the baby, the mother and the father, I was very personable, right? I had like my personable interactions. Like, hey, how you doing? Be friendly. And I guess, and this is in the cubicle, everybody can hear you, and I sounded like a very personable individual. And the thing they try to do is to make you appear like you're something not else, like you're somebody you shouldn't be personable to. And so she probably came and tried to change that, because I know my imperfection, and her walking and back and forth will make people see that, oh, you see this guy kind of, look how he's looking at women. Now that's what I think. I don't know if it's true or not, but either way, to think that I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, oh, the way you're looking at this kid and the way you look at this woman, they match it, they analyzed it. These people that sell industrial products analyzed it, and there's that. Delusional. And they want me to subscribe to this. No. These people, that person that was walking back in and forth and knew that I was in a program that was going to do horrible things to me. They're not here to assess people. They sell industrial products. She knew that me in this program meant my torture and my torment one way or another. Which most likely knew that pedophilia type of tormenting was going to be applied, because this is something they've been doing systematically for decades. And they do the pedophilia type of torture, and they contract these bottom feeders that do day in and day out, try to get you to accept these things. And try to counter reality. Because the obviousness that these people do this pedophilia type of torture is crazy. And on top of that, this employer of mine who put me in this program sponsor a pedophile. That's why they can say Rory Moore. And now they try to make me subscribe. These people were analyzing me. These people that sell industrial products. This program that sell industrial products, they analyze you. Delusional. You understand? No, they put me in the program where they know what's going to happen to me. And that day in and day out try to make me feel comfortable, and whatever behind the scene they were doing to try to make me look like I was not something, try to make me look like something I'm not, it's most likely what they were doing. Including the slanders. And today, since August 19, 2019, my brain has been manipulated to experience disgusting pedophilia things, because this is what these people do. And they're like, we proved it. You proved that you do the pedophilia type of torture. That's all I have to say. Listen to this, almost all targeted individuals are forced to experience pedophilia type of torture. That's it. Once you have that, you can, there's not, what? Also, no, these people are not, they're proving it. They don't do the pedophilia type of torture. They use these childlike people to try to agitate you. Everything. The people who put me in this program actually sponsor pedophiles, by the way. Yeah, donated money. That's why you can say Roy Moore. Oh, by the way, very diversity. Yeah. I was one of very, very few black people. In my department, I was the only one. There was a woman who's been there for a long time. Sorry, a black woman. Never interacted with anybody else. And now these people are trying to cover it up for them. Tell me they proved it. These people who do renowned for their pedophilia type of torture contracted by pedophiles and talking about me as a child. You understand how reality is what they try to escape from? I will never let them live their fantasy. Never. These people are trash and lowlifes. And I will never let them live the fantasy they've put together. And they tell me how I'm going to be trying, because that's what they do. They radiate people. They torment people. They torture even children. We're going to listen to all of that again, because I do not want to let them live their fantasy. Because this directed energy comes from these entities filled with pedophiles. and they contract bottom feeders, children, because you don't need a brain. This technology is so sophisticated that babies, not babies, but children. I've seen kids as young as 13 years old talking like exactly like the same one talking to me right now. These people are trash, and they want you to subscribe to it. This employer of mine who put me in this program is the same employee that spends their money on these pedophiles, which is the reason why they can't save Roy Moore. And the reason why they put me in here, yes, it has to do with race. And this trash don't care about race. They torture children, women, black, white, whatever race you are. And now they try to make me think, oh, no, they proved it. But look at this. Yeah, these people that sells this industrial product proved it, right? Delusional trash. To all my target individuals, stay strong, because these people, our sole job is to torment and torture and falsify reality in all the ways possible, and then gaslight you into accepting this. So stay strong, because justice will be done for this low-lifeness. These trash are bottom feeders who talk about proving one in a program that's renowned for manipulating people in his pedophilia ways. Delusional trash.
Pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes. I also experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and
I just can't take this whole thing into account so much. I make it so dramatic. It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like, this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things.
Also a form of sensory deprivation which will be discussed later. Days and weeks lose their meaning. 6. Sexually disturbing tailored pornography. The summary of the Senate torture report disclosed the disgusting revelations that in the secret torture derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa is true.
Voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as destructive and violent.
Sound like an angry ass old person, then a couple of days later a female said the same thing, don't get shot in the face, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females, and I'm like, bro, really, you're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female?